Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, it is so great to have you. I'm Antoinette, a New Zealander who has been living for over a decade in Germany. So in this video today, I am going to be swallowing my pride a little bit and opening up about some of the biggest mistakes I made when I first moved to Germany. I'm really hoping that some of you can maybe learn from the mistakes that I made. I have no regrets about my decision to move to Germany and build my life here, get married, raise my children here, but I would probably do a few things a little bit differently if I were to do it all over again. So in no particular order, these are just 5 of the many mistakes I made when I first moved to Germany. So number 1, this mistake I made actually before I even landed in Germany. I was completely unprepared when it came to the German language. As many of you already know, my husband is from Germany. We met while he was backpacking around New Zealand, and I decided to go back to Germany with him when his visa ended, just for a little bit of a holiday for 3 months, just to see whether this relationship was worth pursuing. So I was not planning on staying in Germany. I've been here over a decade, but at the time I thought I was just coming for a short amount of time, and to be honest, I didn't even think I was capable of learning a foreign language, especially not a so-called difficult language like German. So I arrived in Germany pretty clueless. So Rob's parents do not speak any English, and I could not speak German to save my life. So I could not communicate with them. Although they were just so lovely and warm and welcoming to me, the only way we could communicate with each other was through Rob translating everything. Rob was amazing. He didn't mind doing this at all, but it just didn't make me feel good. I so badly wanted to be able to communicate with them myself, and I just couldn't, and it was so frustrating for me, and I just really regretted not learning some basic German before I arrived. Okay, so number 2, another big mistake I made when I came to Germany was waiting almost a year to actually start learning the German language properly. I was just so intimidated by the German language. For me, it felt as though it was an impossible task, and I could not possibly learn this language. Many Germans speak really great English, and so I could get by just speaking English, but it did not make me feel good. I desperately wanted to be able to speak German, but I just didn't think that I could. So I tried to learn it a little bit, but it was too much. The grammar is completely different, the pronunciation, just everything, and I just didn't know where to start. And so I only started learning German at German language school almost a year into my stay in Germany. If I was moving to Germany right now, oh my goodness, it would have been so much easier. I could have done this through an online language school called Lingoda. Lingoda is Europe's leading online language school, which offers private and small group classes with certified native speaking language teachers. You're able to take these lessons from the comfort of your own home. Lingoda classes are available 24/7, making it so easy to fit them into your individual schedule. The classes I've taken with Lingoda have been fantastic. The quality of teaching is extremely high. Actually, just a few days ago, I took a class on cultural identity and language, and it was so interesting. I really enjoyed this class. My teacher, Tanya, was so professional. She was so lovely. I just loved the group dynamic. All of us were from different countries and cultures. It was such an interesting mix. Even our teacher, Tanya, she was from Germany. She was born and raised in Germany and living with her family in Kenya, and she had lived in various countries all over the world. We were able to talk about our experiences, all while learning the appropriate vocabulary and grammar, and it was just an all-round really interesting lesson. I even received some really constructive personal feedback from my teacher just 10 minutes after my lesson, which I found incredibly helpful. I wanted to mention that Lingoda is currently hosting the language sprint, and it is not too late to sign up. The Lingoda Sprint is a super exciting opportunity to take advantage of. It is the perfect way to dramatically improve your language skills in just 2 months. You have the option to take part in the Sprint, which is 30 classes in 60 days, or the Super Sprint, which is 1 class every day or 60 classes in 60 days. If you complete every class you commit to and follow the challenge rules, you will be eligible for a 50% cashback or more class credits for an even higher reward. So if this sounds like a challenge for you, then I will leave a link with all the information for the Lingoda Sprint in my description below. Also, if you use my code antoinetteemilynz2024, you will receive a €20 discount. So another mistake I made when I first moved to Germany, and I actually cringe when I think about this, I was way too quick to judge. I was so set in my New Zealand ways, and I thought that the way we did things in New Zealand was the right way. And when I saw people doing things differently, I sort of thought, oh, that's a little bit weird. I thought the way we did things in New Zealand was the right way and the only way, and I am not like this at all now. I am very, very open-minded, and I am well aware that there are many ways to do things. New Zealand is just a tiny little spot on the map, and there are so many different ways of going about life, but I was a little bit ignorant back then, you could say. For example, in New Zealand we sleep with a top sheet on our bed. Couples do not sleep with 2 separate duvets. We do not sleep with big square pillows, and I kind of thought to myself, this is so weird. At first, I didn't even want to try sleeping the German way, and looking back now, I don't sleep with a top sheet. My husband and I have separate duvets, and I prefer sleeping like that. Another example, I did not want to try sauerkraut. I thought it looked disgusting. Now I love sauerkraut to the point where I have sauerkraut once a week. So, you know, you can't just judge things straight away. I used to think Germans were rude. After living in Germany, I've realized Germans aren't rude. They're just a little bit more reserved, and they take a bit longer to warm up. I used to think it was weird that so many Germans wore backpacks, and now I wear backpacks all the time. So I was definitely too quick to judge, and I was a little bit ignorant, and I kind of cringe when I think back to that. Another mistake I made when I first came to Germany was getting offended so easily. I just didn't have an understanding of German culture and German mentality. If I smiled at somebody on the street and I didn't get a big smile back, I would automatically take it personally and think that person doesn't like me, when in reality, Germans are just not used to smiling at strangers, and they're not being rude, it's just not really part of their culture. I used to get offended with my husband's German honesty when I would ask him a question and he would give me an honest answer. For example, does this colour suit me? No, it doesn't. I would be offended even though I was the one that asked him the question. I've come to really appreciate German honesty. There's no guessing, there's no beating around the bush. You know exactly where you stand with a German. Okay, so last but not least, a mistake that I made when I first came to Germany was not asking permission when taking photos of people. This is so embarrassing when I look back now. I was the classic tourist, taking photos of everything, because coming to Germany, it was my first time in Europe. Everything was so new and exciting, and I just wanted to capture everything. So if I saw a castle, I'd take a photo. If I saw some beautiful food at a market, I would take photos of the food. I remember once I was at a market and a lady was selling all of this beautiful hand knitting. She'd made children's clothing and blankets and things like that, and I thought that her setup looked so beautiful. I pulled out my camera and I took a photo of her behind her stall, and she told me off and made me delete the photo. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. She said to me, "Are you going to buy anything?" And I said no, and she said, "Well, please don't take a photo." I was so embarrassed, and I definitely learned not to take photos of strangers without their permission. Also, if you're in a public place in Germany and you're taking a photo of, say, a building or a castle or something like that, just make sure there aren't people in the photo, because Germans really don't appreciate you taking photos of them. In general, Germans are very private people, and maybe some of them don't mind you taking a photo of them without permission, but I think the majority of Germans would not appreciate this. So guys, I have come to the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Before I go, I just wanted to remind you that if you're interested in taking part in the Lingoda Sprint, I will leave a link for where you can check out all of the details to the sprint in my description below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. I would love you to consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. Feel free to connect with me on Instagram, and I will see you again really soon. Bye!